everyone, and welcome to Saturday Stitching. My name is Danny, and I feel like every day can be Saturday if your stitching is going well. I have my daughter here with me as well, and hopefully we can do a nice, tight, concise video. We say that every week, but I think I'm getting a little better at that. We're going to show off a little bit of her work, a little bit of my work, and then we'll let you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Okay. Since I'm still in here hearing a bit of a echo on my end, I'm going to let my daughter go up first and show me what she's been working on this week. Oh, before I do that though, I wanted to mention, and I'm not sure that my daughter is aware of this, but I just saw today when I started the video that Google is going to get rid of this function of doing the Hangouts on air. So I don't know how much longer she and I will be doing the videos together because I don't know how to patch her in for us to do it together if we're not doing the Hangouts on air. But that's supposed to be later this year, it said on the website. I just saw it. So enjoy Maya while you can because it may be back down to just me in a few months. Anyway, okay, Maya, I'm going to switch the screen over to you while I work on my project and let you yakety yak away. Here you go.
All right. Well, I have something in my hand that you guys haven't seen in my hand before. A crochet hook. A lot of leftover yarn from these yarn braids that are still in my hair, even though they probably shouldn't be, and I should have taken them out days ago. But I can't be bothered. So
you've only had a month. That's not long.
Yeah, but they're already starting to get kind of loose at the roots. I could redo a few of them, but I can't be bothered to do that either. So I'll probably take them out in a week or so, I think. But I have a crochet hook in my hand because I also have a yarn, a lot of yarn. I have been working on, if I show you the other end of it.
Wait a minute. I didn't see you doing any of those colors in your round things.
Because I just got them yesterday.
Oh, so you bought new yarn specifically for this project?
Yes, because I've been eyeballing it. So getting to the point that I was saying, I'm making scrunchies. That is a stretchy there or whatever. And I've got some beautiful yarn here because I have been eyeballing for the longest time. Every time I walk through Walmart, I always walk through the craft section. I always walk past the yarn section, and I've been eyeballing Super Saver stripes for the longest time.
I am jealous. I am jealous.
So I've got this.
I know you yarn snobs out there would be like, why is she jealous of some red heart? She can skip on down to Walmart and pick some of that up. Well, I am conservative when it comes to my yarn buying, and I don't buy a lot of yarn. So even for me to get some, you stop showing off to your mother.
2 Super Saver stripes.
I've got projects that are just begging for that yarn.
It is so pretty. I love how it just like how it transitions, how it ombres into the each color and back and everything. So I'm working on some scrunchies. This one is proving to be a real big scrunchie. This one's going to be really, I've been kind of winging it with this one. Right now it looks like a bush from Hooland, or from Hooland, but I'll eventually get the loopies all the way around. But I've got some other scrunchies on.
You know what it looks like.
Well, a brain?
First of all, number one, there are people who do like the half scrunchie where you have all of like you have the circle and then all of the stuff is just on the top half and then you use the bottom half to twist around your hair so that you have the nice ball part sitting like right here. So you may not have to go all the way around if you don't want to.
I might do that because I've made, this is my second scrunchie that I'm making from that ball of Super Saver. And I don't know if you saw, ignore this. These are the other scrunchies I'm going to show. I don't know if you saw, but this is like almost gone. Like I've made getting two scrunchies out of that skein.
Well,
so,
you're using way too much yarn if you're only getting two scrunchies out of it.
Well, maybe I've got the other one that I made here that I'm going to show in a minute. So I've got these are a bit smaller and also black, which is why I'm not going to show you very many of them. You can't see, but they're made from the like almost velvety. It feels like a cheap teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of plushy, but not really almost.
And yarn. What's the name of that yarn? Do you have a label?
Oh, I do in my room if everyone's cool with me going to get it.
Well, you run and get that because this is the yarn podcast. People want to know the yarn. Silly girl.
I forget that people want to know these things. I'm not used to this. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, she doesn't do a lot of stuff with yarn. I taught her how to crochet when she was in high school, I think. At the same time I taught her sisters when they were in middle school. None of them, it didn't stick with any of them. I taught her how to knit and crochet. I taught her sister C1 how to knit and crochet. C2 could not grasp the knitting at all. And so I tried to teach her how to crochet, and she never really stuck with that either. And I'm pretty sure I taught my son how to loom knit, but he swears I never taught him how to do any of it. Okay, you're back. Let me
Found it.
Switch back to your screen.
So it's the Bernat blanket.
Bernat. Mm-hmm. Bernat blanket. I had a feeling that's what you were using when you said it was soft and teddy bearish, but I wanted you to show the peoples.
So I've got those, and then
I never bought that either because that's too pricey.
Well, I wanted it because I was thinking, even if I didn't use it for what I was intending to use it for, which I don't know, because it doesn't. It may just be the loop that I was using, but it feels like this doesn't really have as much give as when I'm using the other yarn.
It does.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about it being for scrunchies. I'm still going to keep these couple scrunchies that I made out of it, but I'm not sure I'm going to make any more scrunchies out of it. But I've also got, let's see, I've got a regular black scrunchie made from just regular red heart. This is the stuff that's in my hair because I still have a bunch of, I've got a big ball of it. So this is the regular red heart that's in my hair. This is the gray red heart that's in my hair. And this is a little bit smaller because I use a smaller hook for this one.
What size hook did you use?
Let's see. For that one, I used an F, or does that say 3.75 millimeters? That's what it looks like.
That says USF, yes.
I used a US.
Not that I think I have a lot of UK watchers, but just clarifying, we're using US sizes.
Well, I've been watching. These are all of my hooks, by the way. I went out and bought the cheapest pack of crochet hooks that I could, but I wanted the metal ones because these are the ones that I used when I was younger. But I've been watching other crocheters like online because I've been trying to find specific patterns for things, and it's just easier for me to watch the process to see like, oh, I can do that, oh, I can't do that, instead of like buying patterns. I've been looking on Ravelry too. Anyway, but I've been looking and people, they're like, oh, I'm using a 1.02 millimeter hook, and I'm like, what size? Give me a letter. So
yeah, it's better to go millimeters just in case you've got somebody who's not doing US sizes.
But this is the other scrunchie I made from the stripes. And it is so, like, that is my wrist. It is so big. Yes, like super big. And I loved it. Like, if you stretch it.
What I was going to say now, you showed it to me again. I realized what I was going to say is it reminds me of cheer girls. The cheerleader girls wear the scrunchies.
Oh yeah, the big puffy. Yeah.
Big puffy scrunchies.
Yeah, that's why, because I personally like really big scrunchies, so that's why I'm making them really big, because this is what I would wear. So in the event that I sell 0 scrunchies, I have a lot of big scrunchies for myself.
So did you sell any at the farmers market today?
I didn't sell. Oh yeah, today's market day. For anyone who doesn't know, that I do my local farmers market, the Marsville Farmers Market, if you're in the area. But I didn't sell any scrunchies today. But I did. I did some henna tattoos, which I cannot show you pictures of right now because we are using my phone to chat. But will be on my Instagram at some point later on. And
The link to your Insta is down in the show notes.
Awesome. And ooh, it says we have 3 people watching. One of those is you, one of those is me, which means we have an extra person watching the video.
Yay.
Hello, person. But I also sold some earrings, which I have, obviously not the ones that I sold, but I have some of the things that I'm selling in this little box here.
So is that all the yarny stuff you wanted to show so far?
Well, I've got some yarny earrings that I'm going to pull out in a second.
Okay.
So I've got this dragonfly pendant.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That is a freshwater pearl that I have wrapped in there, freshwater pearl bead that I have wrapped in there. And
I have to mention you to make me some jewelry for our vacation.
I would.
Have something nice to wear when we go for dinner.
I can make you some cute to boot ear cuffs. And then these are some earrings that I was going through my boxes because I was trying to find my boxes to set everything up because this is the second market of our season. We were down for the winter season, and now it's market season again. So I had to go through all my stuff and find everything. And I forgot about these earrings. They're just the cutest little snowmen. Can you see them? They're dangling. Oh, stop moving.
Stop them from dangling. Oh, they are cute.
They're just the cutest little crystally snowmen.
And they almost don't look like snowmen. So if you're not a Christmassy person, you could still wear them.
Exactly. That is why I made them that way.
They're impressionistic snowmen.
And then so I got some square wire. Did I show you guys the Wrap D20 pendant that I made last time?
I don't know if you showed it. I know that I have, I looked at it on your Insta.
Okay. Well, I have another D20 pendant. So I got some square wire, which is really fun to work with. It's just a little it takes some getting used to, but with square wire, because it's got the flat sides, then you can twist it and it makes cool spirals in it. So I wrapped another D20 pendant, and that is this one here.
Yeah, that's the one I saw on your Insta, I think.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I put up pictures of it or not, but this is the D20 that I have wrapped. It is so pretty. And you can see what I'm talking about with the spiral on this one right there. If you twist the square, then it has this cool little flash to it when you do that. So, and it's a pretty hefty little pendant. It's got some weight to it because the D20 is in the middle there. And let's see. Okay, so I've got these. They're not going to show very well because I used the black yarn, but we'll figure it out. I'll make some colored ones later. But I made these earrings. They're like spirally.
I saw those on your Insta, and I wasn't sure if those were yarn earrings in the picture or.
Yeah. Yep, they're yarn. I use because I've got the skein of stripes that I've got. That's a regular skein. I've got the Red Heart Super Saver, like the big jumbo. Yeah, of black yarn because and I think that one might even be left over from last time I was doing my hair. So, but I've got 2 of these, and they're super cute. And let me set aside the other one. They don't like to stay in the little thing very well, though. I made one with a smaller hook, one with a bigger hook. The bigger hook that I was using for the scrunchies was a J, and that makes the bigger. Oh, I should probably say the millimeters. 5.75 millimeters. And then let's see. And all of these earrings I'm about to pull out are earrings that I've made in the past week because I was like, I have no stock because I made a bunch of jewelry, or I made a few pairs of earrings, and then I sent them off with Chloe to take pictures, and then I never got back to pick up Chloe and to pick up my earrings. So I don't have half of my earrings right now.
So you need to go get them from Chloe.
Yes, I do. I keep thinking that I'm going to, and then just it never happens. But because scheduling is a pain in the butt. But I've got these cute little hammered spirals. Let me do the thing. Cute little hammered spirals. Um, I have, what else is in here? Okay, so this is going to be the last pair of earrings, and then I've got some ear cuffs and pendants. So I was really proud of these because these turned out really well.
Nice.
Yeah, they're, so I took the big copper wire, the big, you'll see it up there, the big copper wire, and I put it into this cute little shape, and I hammered it flat, which hammering wire takes forever, and you need a torch to anneal it so that you can get it as flat as you want. And now I don't have a torch anymore because I used up all the juice that's in the torch.
So can you
Anyway,
just like a refill for it?
I can. I just haven't yet because I want to get, because the torch I have is just like a little baby torch. I just got a little baby torch, and I want to get a bigger, more powerful one, because what I planned to do originally with the copper wire was, because I got some really thick gauge copper wire. It's 12 gauge copper wire, and which also has millimeter measurements that I do not know and will look up eventually. But I just don't know it in millimeters as far as wire. But I got some really thick 12 gauge copper wire, and my original goal was to anneal it and then be able to hammer it flat to make rings. So I've got one of those right here. I've only been able to make one, and it's just this cute little spiral ring. But the problem I've been having is, one, my torch is not strong enough to be able to anneal it well enough or anneal it enough times to get it as flat as I want. And then two, once I eventually do get it flat enough, I have this, like, I'll get it super flat and I'll shape it, which is a pain in the butt to shape by hand because I don't have a ring mandrel or anything. So I'm just guessing based on the size of my finger and hoping that I get it right. But I also, because I've got my like my metal stamping kit, and so I wanted to stamp some cute little like sayings onto them. Like I have one that says "Fear not" and one that said "Keep going," and like I wanted to have those like on the ring because they spiral around, so it's enough for two little words. But if I hammer it too flat, or if I hammer the letters too hard, it'll crack right through the ring, and then I've just wasted a piece of wire.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I've got to get used to figuring that out. But that's what I've been doing with that. Oh, I also wanted to say about these that the if you can see, let me see if I can. Okay, if you can see the little black bead that's on there, that is a lava stone. And you can take essential oils and drip it onto the lava stone. And so as your earrings are dangling in your ears and you're shaking your head around, being all crazy and gesturing, you'll smell the beautiful essential oils.
You
So
have
lovely.
turned into such a hippie up there in Asheville.
Yes. Don't you like essential oils? Don't you want to be smelling good?
I have never used essential oils in my life.
I don't know. I don't use essential oils for anything other than smelling good. Ooh, okay. I need to check in the chat. So D Thompson is in the chat. She's saying, let's see, I've started gazillions of projects, crazy. She's commented 3 times. I just have not been keeping up because I just like to talk away. So she has said, I've started gazillions of projects, crazy. She said, that's nice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And she said, oh, they're pretty. I love those beads with the oils. See, aren't they really cool? I got the idea first when I got a bracelet that had the lava stone beads, and it had a lavender bottle because lavender is my favorite smell of like anything. And it had a lavender thing. And I was like, you can have jewelry that is scented. What? And it just like blew my mind. And so I was like, what? I need to figure out how to do this. Dee says she has a chakra bracelet and uses the oils. That's really cool. I don't know much about chakra things, but I'm learning things by osmosis living up here in the mountains. But I'm hoping that these pick up because I've got a whole string of those lava beads. So I'm hoping that I can find some new and interesting ways to include those into more bracelets and things. Let's see. I've got another just simple copper wire pendant. This one's pretty cute. A simple little copper wire pendant.
What I'm wondering is, where did you get the
little tags?
said fashion earrings. Where'd you get those
I
from?
just got them. I had some of them laying around somewhere, but I went to Joann's one day because I was looking in the jewelry section because I was looking for more wire and I was looking for a display for my jewelry and earrings and necklaces and stuff. And and I happened to see because I was trying to figure out what to do, and Wayne was there with me. And thank goodness he was being so patient and understanding because he hates going to Joann's. There's nothing there for him. He hates being in the store. He doesn't want to be there. He spends most of the time in the bathroom pretending to poop. So, but I was like, help! I need help figuring out what to do and what looks good. And so, he happened to see because there's so much stuff there. I do kind of a scan of everything and try to find like what I have in my head. And he happened to see those, and he was like, oh, well, what about these? You can just clip the earrings on them and sit them on the table. And I was like, what? And so he found them, and it came with a pack of like 50 of them for like $7-10, something like that. It wasn't very expensive. So I have a bunch of those. I think Chloe still got a bunch of them though, because I sent a bunch of them with her to take pictures of my other earrings. So I will get those back shortly. Let's see. I've got a couple of simple little ear cuffs. I sold one of my ear cuffs today, so I've only got 2 left, and they both look like this. But I've got a couple of simple little ear cuffs that just clip onto your little ear. Super cute. And then I've got.
So you said so those are what you sold today was the ear cuffs?
Yeah, I sold the ear cuffs, and I sold I think 2 ear cuffs. Yeah, I sold 2 ear cuffs, and I sold and then I did a couple henna tattoos, and I did pretty good because normally at the farmer's market I usually only make. Wait, is it rude or weird to say how much I make at things or like how well I'm doing?
No,
Okay.
because I think Random Randy um mentions how much she makes at fairs, so I think it's okay for you to say.
Okay, so the market that I'm at is the Marsville Farmers Market, and I am actually the vice president this year. Surprise! And so to be a day vendor, which I was last year, is $5 a day for every day that you're vending. I went every day, just because I love it. And the full time vendor fee is $75, which is what I paid this year. Which is if you count all the weeks, it ends up being cheaper than being a day vendor if you're planning on being there every day. Yeah. So $5. So even including last year, $5 a day, I would only usually either make back my vendor fee or make $10-15 at the market. And today was a really good day. I made $32 today at the market. Yeah, I did really well. Plus, I had 2 people show up that were there last year that were looking for me. One of them asked because she remembered my dragonfly. Hey, stop messing stuff up. She remembered my dragonfly ear cuffs, and so she was asking if I could make a butterfly ear cuff for her daughter her granddaughter who is graduating college soon, like in a few weeks. And so I've got that, which I need to have done in 2 weeks. And then I had another lady who I remember seeing her last year, but we only really started talking this year. But she had some seashells. She's this adorable little old lady whose name is Gloria now. I can totally remember her name, and I need to keep saying it so I don't forget. But she is this sweet old lady, and she used to live in Florida. And so she has these 2 little seashells that she picked up whenever she was in Florida, and she held on to. Get down, you know you're not supposed to get up there. That she held on to for years, and then she came up and she was telling me about it, and I was like, oh, well, I could wrap those and turn them into earrings for you. There's these cute 2 little matching seashells, and so she brought them to me this week, and so I'm gonna wrap those for her and turn them into earrings for her. So I've got 2 orders this week, which is
seashells.
Oh, I will.
Are gentle, gradual.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I'm gonna like wire wrap them and not do anything that could like need any kind of. I'd be so devastated if I broke them, but so I've got 2 orders this week, which is really new for me because I don't normally have orders for anything. So that's really fun to have like specific projects instead of just making things willy nilly. And then I made $32 at the market, and then later on I went down to there's a little craft shop down the road from me that I know the owner, and I go, and sometimes I just sit down there and I knit, or she does macrame. And so I'll sit and crochet stuff and she will work on macrame stuff, and we'll just sit and chat together. I am still not looking at the chat. Thank you for checking the chat, because I'm not. D Thompson is talking about how the about the seashell earrings will be sweet. I hope they will. I'll try to get a picture of them and get them up so that you guys can see them when I have them finished. But I went down to the shop. It's called the Forest Fair. I went down, and fair spelled old-fashioned way with an E at the end. And I went down to the Forest Fair to hang out with Cree. I brought her some Bojangles because she enjoys Bojangles like me. I brought her some Bojangles, and we were chilling. And she actually gave me this stand because this is normally a bracelet stand, you know? It stands and then it's bracelets on it. And because I was talking about how I was trying to figure out something to put my scrunchies on. And originally today, before I went down to the Forest Fair, I had them sitting on, let's see if I can find it. I had them sitting on this sparkly water bottle that I have because I'm trying to be healthy and shit. So I'm drinking water. And so I had them sitting on that water bottle. And so she's like, oh, well, I think I have something in the back. And so she just gave it to me, which is super cool. And we were just chatting away. And then her daughter asked for a henna tattoo. So I ended up doing another henna tattoo and getting $5 more. I was going to do it for free because her daughter's so sweet. I was going to do it for free, but she ended up giving me $5. And her son wants one, but I didn't have time because I need to get down here for this. And so I'm going to do her son's tattoo.
You could have texted me. And I would have done this without you this week so you could go get that bag.
Yeah, but I missed the last like 3 weeks, and I was like, no, we need to. If we're gonna make it a routine thing, we keep in the habit of stuff. So I wanted to make it. Plus, I'm gonna they're open every Saturday after market, and so I was planning on going down there after market next Saturday anyway. So I'm gonna go next Saturday and do her son's henna tattoo as well, which is super cool. Plus, another couple stopped in and they were asking about me because they saw me doing the tattoo. And they were asking about it, and they took one of my cards. So hopefully, I'll get hired for another party or something.
Cool. I know you do that when you do the parties.
Yeah. As long as I can get them, they do pretty well. And they're super fun because there's just a bunch of people at once. But the last two things that I have to show, the last two things that I have to show are these little hammered moon pendants.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, it's super cute. It's just a little pendant to string on a necklace. But if I don't drop them and destroy them first. And I hung them on the earring things too because I don't have any necklace things. But I just made these two cute little moon pendants to hang on things, and that is all of my things that I have.
So is that all the yarn that you bought?
Yeah, I only bought the Super Saver Stripes because I've been eyeballing it for months.
You finally gave in.
Yes.
Well,
and I really enjoy it.
Thank you for sharing everything that you've been doing since we were gone for 2 weeks. You got a lot of stuff done. I can't say that I got much done, but I will show the little bit that I got done anyway. While you keep an eye on the chat, I'm going to switch screens here.
Yeah, I will keep an eye on the chat. And thank you. She said she loves the pendants. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Those are super easy to make, a lot easier than I thought they were going to be because I've been wanting to make some moon stuff for a while, but they're super easy.
Okay, so I tried to remember. I feel like I got a lot of stuff done these last 2 weeks, but I really didn't. I already showed the hat that was a failure, the blue hat. I showed that on the last video I did.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looks like Dee has to go. Oh, that's unfortunate. She says, well, I guess I'll mosey along. Just wanted to pop in and say hi. Well, hello, Dee, and we'll be back next Saturday. We should be back next Saturday around the same time, 4:00. So if you wanted to stop in again, we do this almost every week. We're working on it. You have a good weekend, too.
Oh, listen to my daughter, the saleswoman. Okay. See, if it was left up to me, I'm like, nice she stopped by. I might be here next week. I might not. You don't have to come if you don't want to. It's really
no, you have to. We need everybody. We're gonna be bigger than PewDiePie.
Whatever. Okay, so the hat was a disaster. So first off, the stash busting Afghan crochet along by Unraveled Mitten. Okay, so she is up to 5 squares. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that on the 3rd square, I lost one of the balls of yarn, but I found it out in my yard.
I remembered seeing that Instagram post, and it was so funny.
Because apparently, if you don't follow me on Instagram, apparently when I took it outside to take the picture, it dropped in the little, we have like a little garden patch, which is lying fallow, has nothing but weeds at the moment, but a little garden patch right in front of the bench where I take pictures. And somehow I dropped the ball of yarn as I was picking up the stuff after I had taken the pictures. So I found it a couple weeks later. So I finally finished my square number 3, which is here. Okay. I'm not bothering, by the way, you'll see these ends weaving on all my squares. I'm not bothering to weave all these in because the when I join the squares together at the end to make the blanket, I'll just work those ends in then. So I'm not bothering with it too much now. But and this one I wasn't thinking, so I worked the square all the way to the 12 inches, which didn't leave me room for the border. So I only did a single crochet border just to make it consistent with the other ones. I only did one row, but
We've got Nightingale Crochet in the chat, and she says that's beautiful.
well, thank you. As I've mentioned before, these are Charlotte Hornet colors, and we live in the Charlotte area, so I didn't pick them for because they were Charlotte Hornet colors. It just happened to be a coincidence. I picked some colors and let my husband make the final choice because I suffer from analysis paralysis when it comes to putting colors together. I may get a pile of yarns together that kind of go, but then I'm like, should I pick this shade of pink or this shade of pink? Should I pick this shade of green or this shade of green? And then I start to, So that's square number 3. Square number 4, I can't remember if I know I showed it when it was started, but I don't know if I showed it when I completely finished it. So I'm just popping this up right quick.
Ooh, Nightingale Crochet says that she is in Tennessee. That is not too far away from me, actually.
Okay, so this is I said on Instagram that I wasn't sure what yarn this is, and I think someone on Instagram told me it was Peruvian desert, Peruvian something. I'm sitting here checking my Instagram, which is hard to do when I can't see. Oh, and I forgot to put my other picture up. I forgot to put my other Instagram picture up. This is your fault, Maya.
It's not my fault.
It's all your fault. I'll have to put it up after the.
I spent most of market trying to update my Instagram.
But it is called. I can't see with my glasses on, people. That's how crazy I am. Yes, Red Heart Peruvian something. I can't find it. It's Red Heart Peruvian something. Um, which as I mentioned before, I hated this yarn when I saw it. It was in my stash of the box that keeps on giving. It's just a box of yarns that was given to me, and a lot of them were tangled together. They're not colors that I would ever pick. But when I made them into this square, I just like fell in love with it because this stitch really helped. But why I was bringing it back up was because I finally decided to do a really wide border. I think I did like 5 rounds of single crochet on this one. And that made me realize I really prefer the wide border like this over the 1 or 2 rows that I've done on my other ones. Like my other one, see, I did just a single row, and I mean, that's okay, but I think I really like the wide borders better. So I'll probably do that from now on. And so now I have square number 5. And some of the other ones that I've done, I'm calling all of this scrap yarn simply because it is less yarn than a full skein. I can tell that some yarn has been used out of it. It was a lot. Most of it is unlabeled, and you can tell that somebody pulled some out and then maybe wrapped it back or whatever. But it's still almost close to a full skein. You can't really call it necessarily a scrap. But this square truly came out of a scrap because this is all I have left of the yarn. So you can tell I didn't start with much because I made a square, a 12-inch square, and this is all I have left. And I had to use another yarn for the border. And this is all I have left to this yarn too. So, um, and this is the square, the fifth square. For some reason, this one came out lopsided. I don't know why, but this square, the stitch pattern is called the paired double crochet. So
I hadn't seen that one. I really like those colors.
yeah, this is another one where I saw it in the ball and I'm like, I'm not sure I'm gonna like this. But after I had the experience with the last square, I thought, well, once I see the texture of the crochet, maybe I'll like it. And this is another one where the yarn
Hmm.
really came out nice because of the textured stitch. If it was just in a basic knitting stitch or a basic single crochet every row, I don't think I would like it. So I am anxiously awaiting, because this is the first time in a crochet along where I have actually been caught up. I've tried crochet alongs in the past where they're supposed to be like a year-long project, and they start in January and you have like a square a week or a square, you know, a couple squares a month or whatever. And I even did one where it was only one square a month, and I did not keep up. I got like maybe January and February done, and then I gave up. But this one is really, I'm really sticking with this one to the point where I'm anxiously awaiting. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys. I know this is silly, but this is what I'm keeping my squares in. I've got my
Oh, I didn't show you what I was keeping my earrings in, did I?
no.
I've got it in this box, this mailbox labeled earring box now. And this is the box that my business cards come in. The last box that I got my business cards in. I've got it says Vista print on the side and everything. This is my earring box.
Yep, that's my daughter. Yeah, we're not hating on any other YouTubers, but we're not into the fancy um project bags or anything. The project I'm working on right now, this is a bag. If you can see the words on the front of it, this is a bag that my wig came in.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought my wig, it came in
Yeah.
this bag. And so it's got a Ziploc on it. So I thought, okay, that's perfect to keep a project in. I've got other projects in those cloth bags that at Walmart, when you buy a sheet set, they have it rolled up in a cloth bag that's the same fabric as the sheets. And I use those to put projects in too, rather than throw them away. Not fancy here. But so yeah, since I'm waiting for the other square to come out, which is going to come out this coming week on the 27th supposedly, I was looking at other crochet alongs. It's like, ooh, let me just jump into another crochet along. And then I thought, no, that's stupid because you have the whole purpose of this was to use up my stash, these yarns that again I don't feel like I have any use for, that they're not really my colors, I'm not really attracted to them, use them up. And since my kids seem to like fugly blankets, I figured just throw all the colors together in a blanket. And why are you making the O face over there? The
I
shocked
don't
face,
like
I should say.
fugly blankets. I like cute, quirky blankets. Rude. That
That blanket that I made you guys years ago with every shade of pink, because
was my
somehow
favorite.
and I still don't know what happened to that blanket,
Me
but
either.
that thing was
Oh,
ugly. I
Nightingale
still
Crochet says she keeps her projects in boxes or reusable bags from Kroger.
see you are a woman after my own heart, Nightingale. You are a woman after my own heart.
Okay, so I've got a bit of a dilemma before we
Okay.
continue. Sorry, I'm crocheting right now. So I've got a bit of a dilemma. I'm in the middle of finishing this scrunchie, and this is how it's looking right now. So I've reached almost every color in the skein. There's like a bright pink that comes after this, but I haven't quite got there yet. Should I just stop here and make this one of those top fluffy scrunchies, or do you think I should go all the way around and make it a full scrunchie? If I go all the way around, I am positive that I will use up the entire rest of the skein, which I have no problem with because that's the whole reason I bought these skeins was for the scrunchies. I just don't know if I should or if I should keep the rest of the skein and make maybe some more earrings or another toppy scrunchie.
I'd say make that one of those top heavy scrunchies.
Mm-hmm.
So just stop there at that
Okay.
last color change and then do something else with the rest of the yarn just to
Okay.
see. Because then you have some of both kind of scrunchie and you can see which one attracts more attention when you take them back to the market.
Oh, see,
Oh,
Nightingale.
Nightingale says
Nightingale
keep going.
saying, yeah. Well,
Well,
I've got.
of course, you could just go buy another skein.
I could because they had another skein of that, and I don't know if Nightingale saw earlier, but I've got this other skein of these colors that is going to be my next one because I have a full scrunchie of the one that I'm working on. I've got a full scrunchie of these colors going on. You can see them. I don't feel like taking it off the thing again, but if you watch back the live stream, you'll see. So I think I might stop because I really like the loopy thing, and I didn't know if I wanted to make a full scrunchie of the loopy or just stop here.
Hmm.
Mm, I'm not sure. I may just sit it to the side and start working on something else and get back to it once I figure out how I feel about it.
Oh, so you're gonna be having start-itis too.
Maybe. Well, because I already am at that right now. I've got a dream catcher over there that I've started that I haven't, I've got two dream catchers I'm looking at that I've started that I haven't finished. I've got another scrunchie sitting in my room that I haven't finished. And I think I've got one more thing that I've started that I haven't finished that is just chilling all over the house.
So, because we don't want this to go too much longer. Um, so that's the only thing basically that I have finished in the 2 weeks since we last did a video, which is pitiful but true. Um, because I only do a little bit each night. So, and this week I haven't really picked up my needles much at all. Um, but I did start because I've always been attracted to those blankets that have that texture where it looks like it's little squares where it's raised like a waffle. They call it like a waffle
Yeah.
fabric, kind of like almost like long john fabric or something. And when I discovered that there is a stitch called a waffle stitch in crochet, and I think
Hmm.
there might even be one in knitting, I was like, oh, I've got to try that. And I've seen different variations of it that I wasn't real happy with, but then I found one called the raised square waffle stitch. And so I just had to try it. So, oh, Nightingale Crochet says she loves the colors in the other skeins too. So,
Yeah, this reminds me of there was the very first time we did yarn braids. I got this big old rainbow skein and we put some of the rainbow braids in my hair and that's what it made me think of and that's why I picked it up.
I do not remember this.
Do you remember that?
No,
Maybe it was the second time. Maybe I put the braids in myself.
possibly.
But they're very like I feel like both of these skeins are very like spring, summer, carnival-y kind of colors, which is why I picked them.
And spring is the magic word because that is just what I was thinking when I was like, oh, I need to start another crochet along. And I was thinking like spring colors because I was leaning toward Moogly's crochet along.
Hmm.
Um, but I was looking at the squares, and I think the reason that I have had success with this crochet along as far as keeping up with it is because it's not granny squares. Because at the beginning of the year, I had actually signed up for two mystery crochet alongs where they don't tell you ahead of time what all the instructions are. They release them to you bit by bit.
Hmm.
And one of them turned out to be a blanket that is like a giant granny square almost. You start in the middle and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm glad when I saw the first set of instructions, I was like, oh no, I don't even want to do that. That looks too complicated.
I'm going to interrupt for a second and say, I'm sorry if you guys hear stuff in the background. My neighbor, I didn't realize this was going on, but my upstairs neighbor has decided to weed whack the backyard because they're working on a garden out there. So if you hear that, I'm sorry, but that's what's going on outside.
I can't ever hear those things when people say that in videos.
Really?
They're like, I'm sorry, the motorcycles are revving outside in the street or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what y'all are hearing. I can't hear anything.
See, I feel the same way as you, but this is so loud in my ear. I felt for sure that you could hear it.
Well, maybe somebody else watching the video can hear it. I'm just saying I can't hear it. I can never hear it. I can only ever hear the person on the microphone. I can't ever hear what they've got going on in the background.
Huh. Well
So I
then.
think it's something about the depth of my hearing or something. I zone in on one thing and I just can't hear anything else. But yeah, I think it's and somebody else. I heard two other people saying that they didn't like granny squares, and that's when it occurred to me that that's what is different about this crochet along because these are just squares. Like if you made this any bigger, you could do more stitches and just make a giant blanket out of this. You know what I'm saying? It's just squares going back and forth. It's not like going in the round and changing colors and stuff like that, like a granny square usually is, or a variation on a granny square usually is. These work up fairly quickly for me, and I think that's why I'm able to keep up with it. So I decided against doing another crochet along because the ones that was finding were the granny square situation, and that causes me another case of analysis paralysis because I can't figure out what when I should change the colors because with these crochet alongs they're like pick whatever colors you want to pick and change color whenever you want to in the square, and that's like okay, you're that's already asking for trouble for me. But when I was thinking about the crochet along, I pulled some colors out because for some reason it's like, okay, it's spring. I should get some springy colors out. I've never been that kind of person really, but I just felt like, I've been seeing some stuff about Easter in the news, and I saw, and these are colors that I would never use at all. So it's another reason to put them in a scrap project. And this is what I was talking about before. See, this
Mm-hmm.
clearly somebody, it's not labeled. You can see that it's a little mussed up. So clearly it's been used by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly this is not a scrap. This is darn near a full skein. But I hesitate to say it's a full skein because there's not a label on it. And there is some mussing on the outside going on to lead me to believe that at least a little bit has been used off of this skein. So those are the kind of scraps that I have. Too too mussed up to give away to somebody, but too full to throw away, but they're not my colors. I don't know if you can see.
It looks like a
I
very
can,
light lavender.
yes, yes. I know my colors, the colors on my webcam are crappy. So, but yeah, this is a very light lavender, which out of all the colors that I just pulled out, no, the green is the one that I would most likely use if I was going to use any. But this is second most likely to use would be lavender. And then I pulled out about six colors. I pulled out two greens and two yellows or two pinks, and your father gave me the final vote on which pink and which green to use because I get this is a lightish green.
Mm-hmm. It looks like an
It's
olive green from here,
it's not really an olive. It's
or like a dusty olive.
almost a pastel because it's a little bit deeper than an olive. It's almost like grass that hasn't quite, how can I say it? Like sometimes the grass doesn't get quite enough water, so it's a yellowish green almost.
Yeah.
Not a dark green, it's that lighter green, which you can tell means it hasn't been getting enough water. That's what color this is. Mosaic Green by Creative Grandma. I'll have to look that up, Nightingale. I'm not familiar with that one because I'm always looking for something to use up all these bits and bobs of color. But I've got this yellow.
Ooh, I like that yellow.
I think this yellow is called like cornmeal. I'm almost 95% sure all of this stuff is Red Heart because this came from the box again that I got from your Nana, and 95% of what she used was Red Heart. She's like us. She wasn't a fancy woman when it came to buying yarns. She didn't buy any. For us, Lion Brand is an expensive treat. Pretty
You know what that yellow makes me think of?
what?
That sweater you made one time. It is almost that color, at least in my camera.
Yep, it was. This is the color that sweater was, except that was a discontinued yarn called Karen Dazzler, and a lot of people mourn when yarns are discontinued. I do not mourn the loss of Karen Dazzler. That stuff, it was soft when you made the sweater, and it pilled terribly the first time we washed it, and we never were able to get rid of all the pills on that sweater. And I never make an adult size sweater. So it just killed me that I put all that work into that sweater and then it came out looking all ratty the first time we washed it. I mean, you still wore it,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
I still have that pattern. I'm thinking about making another one of those sweaters, although I don't know who I'd make it for because Sydney would never wear it. Chloe only likes short sleeves. Don't be pointing at yourself.
How about your daughter that lives in the mountains that was just talking about spring but had to have market inside because it was chilly?
Yes, I saw that. I saw you talking about how market needs to be inside because it was cold. I saw that on Insta. And the last color in this pile is, you know, I'd never got this
Ooh.
in a million years. Is there a name on this color?
Ooh, but you know who would?
Pale
Me.
pink. It is
What is it?
pale. It's called pale pink. Is the color name on this. The brand, this is the only one that's got labeled. The brand is Mainstays. And I know it is old Mainstays from 10 years ago because A, it came from your Nana, and B, it is it is thick like Red Heart.
That is a pastel Hello Kitty pink if I have ever seen one.
I thought Hello Kitty was more of a hot pink.
Hello Kitty has a hot pink, but then if you buy like Hello Kitty stuff, like Hello Kitty sweaters or Hello Kitty items, there will be the Hello Kitty face, and then it'll usually be, from what I see, it'll usually be on a pastel pink item.
Okay. All right. So these are the four colors. And even with this, I'm like, okay, what order should I put the colors in? I can't decide what order to put the colors in.
Just
I could
wing it.
I couldn't decide which one to start first with because I picked this pattern called the raised square waffle stitch. And so I went ahead and started with the pink. I'm still second guessing myself, but here we go.
Roll them down the hallway. Whichever skein rolls the furthest, that's the winner.
Aha. But see, I don't. I mean, I guess you can see it well enough in the camera.
Yeah,
You can see that there's little like indentations like a waffle.
yeah.
You can see that. Okay. For some reason, I love that. And like, there's store bought blankets that have that texture, and I've always liked that on a store bought blanket because it's like the blanket is kind of light, but it has that squishy, scrunchy feel to it.
Hmm.
And this stitch has a nice squishy feel to it. So the blanket is going to be light but squishy. And so I'm happy about that. So I think, and I saw somebody else on Instagram just happened to post something with similar colors. And so I guess I'm going to go with the lineup of colors that she had in her stripes, which is going to be pink, yellow, green, and then purple. This is the order I'm going to put them in. So I guess that'll be okay.
It probably would have been okay no matter what color you put them in, what order you put them in.
But it was driving me crazy because I felt like, well, the pink and purple should be next to each other, and the yellow and green should be next to each other. But it was just driving me crazy. And I was like, well, maybe I should put some white in between them. And I have a jumbo ball of white, which I could still put the white in between them. Just like put the pink and purple and then go white and then go yellow and green and then go white and then go pink and purple. I don't know. But yeah,
I think you should just stick with the way you have it.
Well, the thing is that I don't know if there's enough yarn with just these four to make a decent even. If I get enough for a lap blanket, that would be enough. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know with those four skeins if there's enough yarn to even make.
Nightingale says very nice.
Thank you, Nightingale. Thank you. Like I said, I'm not very good at picking colors, but I'm doing my best. So this has worked from the center. I don't know if you can see where I started my little magic ring.
I
This
just
is
learned
where,
how to do that yesterday.
did you really?
Yes.
It's so much easier than doing the slip stitch and then going inside that same stitch because
Mm-hmm.
you have that little tail where you can pull and tighten it up. It's my
Yeah,
favorite
you can just
thing.
do a big old ring.
But this once you get to the fifth, this is the kind of pattern that once you get to the fifth row, like the first four rows are kind of the foundation to set it up. And then once you get to the fifth row, you know what you're doing. And so you don't really need to look at the pattern. You just keep repeating rows 5 and 6 round and round and round till you get it big enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is at the start of row 6. So once I do row 6 for this, I think I'm going to change to the next color, and then just because that's the other thing. Since it's not this is just a pattern for how to do the stitch, but it's not a blanket pattern per se. I've seen some people on Instagram make a blanket, and that's what gave me the inspiration. But I don't know. So again, analysis paralysis. It's like, okay, how many rounds should I do in each color? Should I make wide stripes or should I make skinny stripes? Should.
Variegated stripes. Variegated.
So I just get crazy. So I think I might just do 6 rounds of every color and then switch. I think. I don't know. We'll
What I
see.
would do is just do some rounds until you're like, this is a pretty decent stripe, and then figure out how many rounds that is, and then do that for the rest of them.
You so smart. So last thing I wanted to show, because we're closing in on an hour and we really don't need to talk very much longer. The last thing I wanted to show is again the whole purpose of me doing these shorter projects that like the crochet along besides getting rid of my stash is that I'm finding that working on like the Afghan squares is revving me up and getting me excited about stitching again to where I feel like I want to give attention to these other big projects that have been sitting around. I have 5 big projects that are like weighing on me. And they are the sweater that well it's like a t-shirt that I'm making for my daughter C2, the blanket that I'm making for C2, the blanket that I'm making for C1, the um, sports blanket that I'm making for a friend of mine, and the Deadpool blanket that I have not even started, but I bought the pattern for my son. Those are the 5 things that are weighing on me because they've already pretty much been started and not finished. Well, 6 if you count the socks that I haven't finished yet. Don't give me the evil eye. I don't know what I'm gonna do with those socks. I might I might scrap those and start over.
My toesies are cold.
Your toesies are cold. Well, these are cotton socks. They're not going to keep your toes warm. But the and so now I'm starting to feel a little bit more excited about working on those again because I'm getting a sense of completion on these other things. So I brought out the sweater. This is there's a link to it in the show notes if you want to see an actual picture of the finished object. This is called the casual knitted t-shirt, although inside the pattern itself it's called the casual surfer's tee. And this is for my 22-year-old daughter. And this is, let me see if I've got the stitch marker. So I put this down about a year ago. Okay. And so this is where this orange marker is where I was the last time I showed it on video. And this yellow marker, of course, is where I am currently. So I've managed to get several inches on it since I've picked it back up. It's a top down raglan sweater and it's got panels of um, lace on the front. I have not done the sleeves yet, but this is, I don't know if you'll be able to really see it because without blocking, it's kind of hard to see the shape of it. And it's dark. It's a navy blue because that child likes blue and black pretty much. So I've got it in
Oh,
front of me,
kind of
so I
see.
don't know if you can see it, but
Your camera does some funky things.
I can't tell because it's in front of me, so I can't see.
Yeah, well, it looked a bright navy blue, and then you held it closer to the camera, and it went like a gray, like a blue gray, and then you pulled it back, and it looks navy blue again. It went from looking like fresh blue jeans to old used blue, like acid wash blue jeans to bright blue jeans.
Mm. So I don't know if you can see. You'll have to tell me, Maya. I don't know if you can see the
The
collar.
pattern?
Yeah. So it's got kind of a V-neck
Mm-hmm.
situation. So you'd want to wear. It's the kind of thing where you'd wear a tank top under.
Yeah.
And I'm using Karen Simply Soft in a navy blue. So now that I'm holding it up, I'm seeing that I've got a good amount of length on it. Just holding it up to myself, it's down to my belly button, which is cool. So that's encouraging me even more. I measured it the other day and I've got 5 inches left to go because I had to do like 14 inches. See, this is the armhole. So I needed to get like 14 inches from the armhole going down. So I've got about 9 inches so far. So
I was just telling some friends at the market today. I have knit one baby blanket in my life, and that is the last because big projects I cannot do.
mhm.
I can't handle it.
Well, I always stuck with small projects. Like, well, when I first started back knitting, because you know my story with knitting, I've done it off and on since I was like 10, and crocheting too. But and there's spurts where I don't ever do anything with yarn. I mean, spurts of like years where I don't do anything with yarn, and then I pick it back up again and I do it for a while, for a few years, and then I don't do anything with it for years. That's my history with knitting and crochet in a nutshell. And so I've always felt myself as an advanced beginner because whenever I start back, I'd start with simple projects and then kind of move myself up, and then I kind of stop along the time when most people would be advancing their skills. Then I stop for several years and then I go back. So I feel like I've never knit a raglan sweater before. This is my first time knitting a raglan sweater. This is my first time knitting a top down sweater. So, and I hardly ever do large projects, like I said, because it's just I do baby sweaters and I do baby blankets, and I don't even do those very often. But like a
Oh,
full size blanket or something like that, I usually don't do because it just takes so long, and I want that instant gratification. But I'm attracted to the big projects when I see a huge thing. Like we were talking last time on video about that Friends blanket
yes.
based on the Friends TV show with all the different squares and stuff. I did show that to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. Because I wanted one.
And it's got all the different. The only hope of getting that done is because it is done in squares, but still, it's a lot of colors, and so it's a lot of work.
Speaking of
And
baby blankets and baby things, I want to interrupt for just a moment. Um, I've been invited to a birthday party for a 1 year old, and I don't know what to take. What should I do? I've got like 3 weeks.
well, 3 weeks is a good amount of time.
Because I usually, if I know that people have babies, then I'll make, the little baby Converses,
Uh
the
huh.
like little baby. See, I've made those like 3 or 4 times, and so I'll usually do those. But it's a 1 year old. I don't even know if they'll be because their feet are
I have
getting
never
bigger.
seen you make the little baby Converses.
I've made those like 3 times.
I have never seen those.
Okay.
You crocheted them?
Yes.
Yes, I totally missed out on that. Did you put them up on your Ravelry?
No, because I never put up stuff on my Ravelry. I have to keep forgetting I have one. Google reminds me when I try to log in. It's like, you already on here.
Well, you need to start putting that kind of stuff up there. But no, I did not know that you had made little baby Converses. Well, I mean, at 1 year old, babies still like little loveys and stuff like that. So you can make a baby blanket, or I know there's a lot of crocheters who make these things called loveys. If you're still there, Nightingale Crochet, maybe you can chime in on this. But I've never made one. I've never seen one out in the wild, so I don't know if
Isn't
children
it like a
actually
cross between a baby
use
blanket
them.
and an amigurumi?
Yes. It's got like a
Okay,
little
that's what I thought.
doll in the middle. It's got like a little doll in the middle, and then it's got the
Hmm.
blanket that comes out from it. I've heard that children like those things. I don't know because I've never made one.
I don't remember having one of those.
I've never made them. Well, I've never even heard of them until y'all were all grown. And again, it's one of those things that I've never seen out in the wild, like messy bun hats that
Hmm.
supposedly people wear them. I've never seen them except in a pattern.
Let's see. Love or Nightingale says stuffed animals. I've done a few blankets, but they were both C to C. I don't know what that means. Please explain. She says, corner to corner. She says, I'm fixing to do one for my queen size bed. Have fun. Have fun,
Well,
girl.
yeah, I'm dying to do a corner to corner. That mini Deadpool that I was going to do for Isaac is a
Hmm.
corner to corner, but I have not started it. I have tried the technique enough that I know how to do it and I know that I like it, but I've never finished anything with it. I started to do when I was doing the avatar blankets for Sydney and Chloe. I was gonna do Chloe's with a different pattern that
Hmm.
because Sydney had picked out the pattern she wanted. I was gonna do Chloe's in a different pattern so they didn't have the same exact blanket. And so I
Yeah.
did. So I was doing C to C where all the symbols were just on one blanket instead of four separate squares.
Hmm.
And it turned out that she wanted the same blanket as
That's
Sydney, and I
Sydney.
just and I just reversed the colors. But yeah, C to C, I am dying to do a C to C blanket. I am dying. Which by the way was the other thing I was going to mention. On my Start-itis, I am like this close because Mr. Rico and Miss Sophie came over yesterday to see your father,
Hmm.
to visit him, and they were mentioning that their daughter is about to graduate from college in May. And
What now?
yes, yes, yes. I know she's that old. You're that old too. You're darn near 30.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Nightingale says she's never made the lovies for babies, but she's wanted to.
Well, maybe I will bust one out in the next 3 weeks. Who knows? But I've only, like I said, I've only ever made one baby blanket, and it was the bane of my existence. I hated
Well,
it.
you know what? Even if well, if you hated making the baby blanket, because I was going to say even making the baby blanket would be. You
It
could
just
crochet
took
one
forever.
if you prefer crochet over knitting. You can crochet the blanket. I made a blanket for. You remember Miss Haley?
Yes, I still follow her
Okay.
on Instagram.
Well, her daughter, her first birthday, I made her a blanket. You may have seen it on my Instagram, the Wonder Woman blanket.
Yes, yes, yes.
That was for her first birthday, and she
Oh,
seemed to really like that blanket. So I think kids that age still like having a special blanket. So you could make a special blanket if you felt up to it.
let's see. Oh, Nightingale says, "LOL, I'm 31."
So great. I'm old enough to be your mother too, Nightingale. Thanks. Thanks. Everybody remind me how old I am. Thanks.
Man, everybody work depending on what shift I'm on. If I'm on the morning shift, I'm like almost the baby of the shift. I'm one of the youngest people there. And then if I work second shift, I am like the oldest person working there other than the managers. Actually, I'm older than some of my managers.
Oh, good Lord. Well, that's what happens when you work at McDee's. But anyway, so she's graduating from college. But what I did not know is that she's an AKA. And so as soon as they said that, I was like, oh my goodness, I have a use for this ghastly pink and green that is sitting in my stash. So, but the thing is that I thought I had more green than I have. I have the perfect AKA pink and green. Just in case you're not familiar, Nightingale, AKA is Alpha Kappa Alpha. Is one of the Divine Nine sororities, and so their colors are pink and green. And the the um the pattern designer that I bought the Deadpool pattern from and the sports blanket pattern from. And I hardly ever buy patterns. So the fact that I bought two from her
Mm-hmm.
means that I like her stuff. Even though I haven't finished either pattern, I just like the the designs that she comes up with. Um
Pause. Get the camera off of me. I'm looking at the stream over here, and this camera just looking at me over here crocheting. Can you please?
does that make you feel better?
Just a little.
So there is a pattern, and I hesitate to buy patterns. Like I said, I hesitate to buy patterns. But as soon as she said AKA, I was like, oh my gosh, I got this pink and green. I can use up this pink and green. And Mr. Rico is your father's best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and like a brother. And they've really helped us out in the pinch. And so I feel like I should do something nice. It's hard for me to do nice things, but I figured I should do nice. And but you're the only person I'm mentioning it to, just in case I don't finish it.
Me and the rest of the world.
The rest of the world are not your father, though. If I mention it to your father and then I don't finish it, then I look stupid.
What if someone watches the stream? What if Nightingale stalks out Daddy and messages him?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So this is the pattern. Okay, come on. So this is the pattern.
Oh, ooh, those colors though.
Yeah, those are the AKA colors, though.
Really?
Yeah, I mean sometimes you can do the pale pink, like the pale pink that I've got in my in this Afghan that I'm doing, but I'm not doing that hot a pink though.
I was just not
But
expecting because you said pink and green. I'm like, okay, those colors can kind of go together. And all of a sudden, my eyes are assaulted. I did not expect it to be those colors.
Okay, you talk, and I'm gonna go get the yarn. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm going to tell them about how you never made me an SAI blanket, even though I was in Sigma Alpha Yoda, which is not one of the Divine Nine, but is still a women's music fraternity that I was in for 4 years. And never did I get a blanket. Never did I get a scarf. Never did I get a mention of any of these things. Her firstborn, first raised child, and I got nothing. Let's see. Nightingale is saying, and I will reread this when she gets back. Nightingale is saying, I didn't know what AKA was. I work second shift, and one of the ladies I work with crochets too. Ooh, most of the ladies around your age. Oh, that's cool. Do you work in I work in fast food. What kind of place do you work in? Because at fast food we get a bunch of different people at different ages. Are you back? Is that you I hear scrambling? Okay, so Nightingale was saying she didn't know what AKA was, and she said she works second shift, and one of the ladies that she works with crochets too, but most of the ladies at her job are around her age.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't know any young people who crochet.
I am one of the few people that I know that crochet. Most people that I know that are my age, if they do anything, they knit.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't know anybody who knits. If I run into anybody who does anything with yarn, it's usually crochet down here. I don't run into anybody who knits. And I do both, as we both know. But
Yeah, me too. Oh, Nightingale says she works in a factory. Um,
but
I don't know many people my age work in a factory.
before I switch off of this screen share, I'm gonna switch the colors because I got plenty of pink. Well, I'm thinking of switching the colors. I've got plenty of pink, but not a lot of green. I'm also thinking about just doing the stripes on one end and moving the AKA down toward the other end.
Okay.
So like if you draped it over your neck.
You would have AKA on one side and stripes on the other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of doing. Um
She
but
said, Nightingale says her husband calls her Granny Puckett. That's funny.
that is funny. But that's what that scarf is, a C to C. So I
Mm-hmm.
figured that would be a good start before I start on the giant Deadpool blanket. Which I'm also thinking, even though I already bought the pattern and I like the look of the Deadpool blanket, I'm also thinking that I might want to get, because Isaac really likes the Black Panther movie, and they didn't have a Black Panther, but they have one now.
Oh, you think you might
So
do that pattern instead?
I think I might spring the $5 and get the. But I've also see, here's my analysis paralysis coming into play again, because I don't know. Here's the yarn. This is the pink. As you can see, this is a brighter pink. I don't
Yeah.
know if you can see this. This is a brighter pink than the other pink, because this, yeah. See, this is the pale pink, and this is. Can you tell that
Yeah.
there's a difference?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I can't tell when I'm holding it up in the camera, but I have noticed that when I do it, when I look back at the video, I can tell a little bit better. The color is a little bit better when I watch the video back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this is the pink that I would use, and I feel like I have enough of this skein to do the whole scarf.
Yeah.
But the green, this is all I have of this green, and that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, you would need to go out and get some more green, which
And
would.
the whole purpose is to not go out and buy more yarn. And I have this, but my eyes, I can't tell whether these are the same color or not.
They look like, hold them back just a little bit. They look like they might be the same color to me. It looks like the spaghetti one might be a little bit darker, but I can't tell if that's
That's what
actually
I
darker
thought.
or if it's the shadow.
That's what I'm thinking. I can't tell if it's just because it's not wound up tight. or if they're actually the same color. They look so close that
Mm-hmm.
I might go ahead and chance it. Although the other option, and I
You
do
know what
have
you
a
should do?
little bit more of the green because remember this.
Yes. Yes, I do.
So I could harvest the green from this. But I also have two skeins of this.
Isn't that the one you're using for your other thing?
No,
Oh, they look similar in the
this
camera.
this is Red Heart Baby,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it would be the perfect color to go with this. And I have two full skeins of it. Except this is a number 3, and this is a number 4, which I know you don't know about yarn weights, but Nightingale does.
Nightingale says, I can't wait to do a Deadpool Afghan.
Nightingale, are you gonna get your pattern from Two Magic Pixels, or have you seen one from somewhere else? Um, let's see. The pattern.
Oh, Nightingale is saying also about the greens that you were holding up. They look almost the same. They could be from different dye lots.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. But this yarn, since this yarn is slightly thinner
Mm-hmm.
than this yarn, but if I held two strands together, it might make it too thick. It might make it thicker than this yarn. And I hate holding two strands together with a pattern. I figured that out on there was some other project that I just did and I had to hold two strands together and it's like, oh yeah, I remember now. I hate holding two strands together. I hate it. Whether I'm knitting or crocheting, I can't stand holding strands together. I'd rather just buy a thicker yarn. But I'm thinking I might just try it with this green since I have plenty of this green. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe it won't make too terribly much of a difference.
I mean, it would. It looks like it would just be a pastel version of the colors that you showed in the picture, which I think would not be very bad. Like she would get the point. She would get like the incentive, and you wouldn't have to buy any more yarn.
But I'm not worried so much about the pastel thing because I have seen AKA stuff in the bright pink and green, and I've seen AKA stuff in the pastel pink and green. So the pasteliness of it is not a problem. It's
Mm-hmm.
the um it's the thinness of the green yarn. I know that this other green, this is also Karen Simply Soft, and this is Red Heart Super Saver, which this is softer and has a little bit of a shine to it, which this does not. So that might stick out. But also, I think I might just take a chance on the Red Heart Baby and see. So the second
Nightingale says she'll probably get her oh, what is the word I'm thinking of? Pattern from the Pixel.
Two Magic Pixels, yeah, that's the one that I bought. Did I show you that one already, Maya?
I can't remember. You may have shown a picture of the actual blanket. I can't remember if you actually did or not.
No, because I haven't done the blanket, you silly girl.
No, I mean a picture of not the one you're working on, but a picture of the finished product.
Well, I'm going to show it again anyway.
What would, while you're bringing that up, what would happen if, even though that one yarn is a bit smaller, like what would be the result of using a larger and smaller or heavier weight yarn?
I think it would be. I I think it might like since it's a scarf, like where the stripes are, where the
Mm-hmm.
green stripes are, it might go in a little,
Mm-hmm.
or it might look a little like the stripes might look a little bit lacy
Oh,
because
see,
it's
that might not be
thinner.
that bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It might not be that bad. That's the only reason I'm willing to take a chance on it. But okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. This is the Deadpool that I bought.
Yes, you did show. You did show that.
But without I bought it without the C to C instructions. So all I bought was the graph without any of the counts. And I am figuring out, just like I figured out I don't like grannies very much, I am also figuring out that when Miss Libby was doing her Doctor Who blanket and she was doing it from the written counts, where it was like blue 12 stitches, gray 3 stitches,
Mm-hmm.
blue 5 stitches. I was like, why are you reading that when you could just do the look at the chart? And now I'm realizing I might be done faster if I was reading this, because the chart I keep counting and recounting and recounting because I don't trust myself to remember how that I'm not losing my place. So I think what I'm going to do is write out some counts for this is the Black Panther that
Yeah.
they've come out with since I last looked at the thing. But I think what I would do is, instead of the brown background, because I don't like the brown background, I
Mm-hmm.
might do like maybe a purple background or maybe a blue background, or
I
ask
would
Isaac.
I would go against blue. You could always ask Isaac, but I would definitely go against blue. I think it. I don't. I don't know. I feel like it depends on the blue, I guess, but
Mm-hmm,
maybe not blue.
mm-hmm. Well, just something that's not, I mean, I wouldn't go too dark, of course, because you don't want to blend in with the outline black here,
Yeah.
but I'm just not crazy about the brown. I'm
Let's
not
see.
really feeling it.
Nightingale. Oh, I think she was saying about the scarf. If you use the smaller yarn and it like puckers a little, then it'll give it character.
That's true too. So then the third analysis paralysis situation was, should I really buy a pattern, or should I just go in Excel with the graph and try to make out the pattern myself? But then, okay, this look you're giving me,
That's a look of knowing that my mother is not going to do that.
eyeball. And Nightingale says that she always buys the counts because it's easier. See, I've never bought the counts, and I'm wishing I had, because I've got a giant sports blanket. I'm not saying which sport, Nightingale, because that was one of the mystery things that people were guessing which sport it was, so I haven't given it away yet. Um, but it's basically king size, and I'm wishing now that I had bought the counts, because it's taken me forever to get it done. And not, when I say taking me forever to get it done, it's that it's sitting in a bag. It has been sitting in a bag for over a year, because when I think of taking it out and having to count across that chart, I'm like, do I have time to do this today? Because literally, with I'm going to school and I'm working, I generally have give myself about an hour to stitch after I work and finish my homework, and then I'm sitting down watching TV with my husband. I give myself about an hour to stitch. So and that's not even everything. So I don't get much done. And if I'm gonna stitch for an hour, I'd rather pull out one of these granny squares, or this sweater that I'm working on, which right now is pretty much straight stockinette for another 5 inches, then pull out this blanket that has 15 bobbins hanging off of it, and it spreads all the way across my bed. And I gotta find my place and count and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, it's no fun right now. It's no fun right now. But I want to get it done because it is weighing on me. But right now it's not very fun to do. So so I think you're right, Maya. I think I should just come up off the $5 and buy the pattern, with the count, because this pattern, the pattern for the scarf comes with the counts. Two Magic Pixels, a lot of their older patterns are just the graph, and then you have to pay an extra $2 for the counts. But a lot of the newer patterns, she seems to be selling them with the counts, and that
Mm-hmm.
scarf already has the counts. So I think I'm just gonna pay my $5, and it has the C2C instructions included with it too. So
Because
just
imagine the time that it would take you to do those counts versus the extra $2 that you could be spending, and then you would have them.
mhm. Well, not even extra $2 because I was just gonna not even
Oh,
bother
by
with
the
the
Black
chart.
Panther.
I wasn't even gonna buy the chart. I was gonna go on Excel and make a graph and color it in my C2C and try to figure out. Remember, I've never done C2C before except to do a little. I know the basic technique, but I'm still a little confused on how to keep it even. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
how to do the basic technique when you start at the corner and you increase, increase, increase. But then I'm confused about how to keep it even all the way to the other end of the scarf. And I'm confused about how to do the decreases. So I should really pay the $5 and buy the pattern with the instructions. So so I know what I'm doing. But you know me, I'm cheap. And when there's, well, no, I'm not as cheap as I used to be. To be fair, I always say that the people who do these work, do the work, the people who put in the work to create these patterns and stuff, they deserve their money. I just have trouble spending the money, so a lot of times I just do without. But now, as I'm getting older, it's like, okay, I'm never going to be a millionaire, so what am I saving this money for? So I might as well come up off the $5
Mm-hmm.
and save myself some time. That's the point where I am now. So hopefully next week. So what I, new thing here on the video as we wrap up? Do you have anything that you are planning to work on in the next week? A goal that you're aiming for showing off next week?
Well, I think my goal right now is to finish using up these two skeins of Red Heart stripes, which I'm almost done. In that time that we were talking, I made another earring.
Oh, good for you.
And I'm working on the second one. So the way the stripes works, which I didn't really think about, but the stripes take a bit longer than an earring to go through the colors. And so these are just going to be earrings that are within the same themes of the scrunchies, but they are not going to be a matching pair whatsoever. Like some of them may not have the same colors at all. So I will, because I know that I would wear two mismatched earrings and be like, "What you gonna say? Don't say anything about my earrings. I like them." But some other people might not really want to have two mismatched earrings, but who knows? I live in the mountains with hippies, so we'll see. Um, but I want to use up those two skeins, and then I have been looking and coveting um, barefoot sandals. I've been looking at them and looking at them and looking at them, and
So
I'm
you
like,
gonna make some?
I think I might. I don't know if I'm going to get some more Red Heart stripes to do them, or if I'm just going to use. It depends on how I feel, because I don't really like the look of most of the barefoot sandals that use the worsted weighted yarn, like the thick, like the Red Heart yarn. I don't really like those because they look real chunky, and I want them to look more like ethereal, like I'm a fairy creature walking around on touching the earth because I need it for my soul juice. And the thick chunky yarn doesn't really do that for me, whereas using the crochet thread, it looks more like that. And so
Okay.
which I've still got some crochet thread
I
because
forgot that you had crochet thread.
yeah, that's what I use for my dream catchers, for the centers of my dream catchers. So I've still got a bunch of that. I've got a big ball of it laying around. And so I think, but the only problem with that is if I use the thick chunky yarn, it'll be much faster. It's easier for me to work with. But if I use the crochet thread, then I can be a mystical fairy creature. So I don't know which. I don't know if I'm going to do both or if I'm just going to do one of them and wing it. But I've been looking at some patterns on Ravelry. Some of them free, some of them not. I don't know what I'm going to do, but hopefully I will be showing my feet on camera next week.
So where would you wear barefoot sandals?
To market. That's about it. I don't go anywhere. So I would have them. I would save them for the cruise this September, and then and I would wear them because at market, the place where we have market is on campus and school, and the place on campus where it is, I've walked barefoot down that place anyway. Like I've walked barefoot
Okay.
almost all over that campus before, so I'm not worried about like messing my feet up or anything. And I mean, if like the kids run around barefoot around there sometimes, like it'll be fine. So I'm not super worried about that. I just wear it at market, wearing my overalls and everything. But I'd also be interested in if depending on how quickly they work up, because as I've discussed before, I like a quick project. Depending on how quickly they work up, then I might start selling barefoot sandals. If because I know that people up here would probably be interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta see how I feel about it first.
Try to experiment with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Nightingale says she has a ton of crochet thread, so I'm waiting to hear what she uses it for. In the meantime, I think I just came up with this question on the fly, so I didn't really think of what I if I had any goals. But I know that the new square, the sixth square, is supposed to. I'm looking at my calendar just to make sure. Yes, the sixth square should be coming out on Wednesday
Hmm.
for the stash busting Afghan crochet along by Unraveled Knitting. Um, so I want to start that square as soon as it comes out. So I will be looking for those
Hmm.
instructions on her website Wednesday morning.
Ooh, Nightingale says she makes doilies and snowflakes. Nightingale, if you had been here last week or whenever week that was, you would have heard that I was talking about, or maybe I didn't talk about it on the stream, but I have been thinking about making some doilies because I want to use some of them for my dream catchers. If you go back and look at the older streams, you'll see I pulled out and held up my dream catchers. They're real big, but I want to make some doilies for the center of my dream catchers, but they look like they're going to take a while. And I'm working on smaller projects to build up stock because as I said earlier, I work a farmer's market and I have festivals I'm going to later in the year. I have comic book conventions that I'm going to later in the year. I might have craft shows that I'm going to later in the year. And I'm trying to build up as much stock as possible, which means a lot of little projects, which means the doilies are going to have to wait for me.
I, every once in a while, I think I might want some doilies or anti-mascars to put on the chairs in the living room. Don't give me that look.
Say that word again, please.
Anti-mascars.
Anti-math stars?
Antimascar.
Anti-math scars. Okay, it really sounded like you said anti-math stars. Not lying.
But yeah, those are the things that you put
On the back
on
of the couch and
the
stuff.
back of the couch and the arm of the couch. They're called anti-mascars. See, that's what I get for trying to use my vocabulary. I should have just said, or I think it's anti-macassars. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it.
I still would not have known.
It's a piece of cloth put over the back of a chair to protect it from grease and dirt or as an ornament.
All right. Those look really nice over the living room couches since no one sits on them.
Well, they do now. Yeah, since you left, we allow people in the living room. But
Apparently, I was not worthy.
you were not worthy. No, but I think my goal will be to make that square because I've set a personal goal, although it's not really a competition, and Terry over at Yarn Joy has laughed about it. But yes, she crochets really fast and she's doing the crochet along too. So I always try to get my square done before she does a video saying that she's done her square already. because she's so fast. So I'm gonna try to get my square done, or at least get it started on Wednesday. Definitely done by next Saturday. Yeah, I can have it to show for next Saturday. I want to make some progress on this sweater. Maybe even it seems reckless to say I might finish this sweater by next Saturday. I might be jinxing myself if I say I'm gonna finish it by next Saturday.
Or you're
Um,
giving yourself the motivation because you'll look like a fool if you don't.
yes, that's true. But I mean, I only have 5 inches left, and then all that's left after that is to do the bottom border and the sleeve. I don't know if she's getting a front pocket on this thing. It's supposed to have a front pocket like on the wonderful wallaby that I made for you in yellow,
Yeah.
or like a hoodie.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm making those.
But what if she only wanted it for the pocket? You know, Chloe likes pockets.
Yes, she does like. I think she wanted a hood on this thing. I've already decided there will be no hood. The pattern does not come with a hood, and I don't know how to make a hood, so there will be no hood. So I guess I should make a pocket since I'm definitely not making it. And she said short sleeves with long sleeves. Again, not something I know how to make, but at least with that, because it's like a mother and daughter pattern. The
Hmm.
mother pattern has long sleeves. I'm making the mother pattern for her. Mother pattern has long sleeves. The daughter pattern, which is supposed to be for like a 8-year-old, has short sleeves. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna try directions for the daughter pattern. Maybe add extra to try to make the short.
Yeah.
So I guess try to finish the sweater. I guess I'm saying it. Try to finish the sweater by Saturday. Make the square.
Let's see. Nightingale is saying, I'll check it out. I usually follow written patterns. The doilies take about 3 or 4 sittings, about 1 to 2 hours of sitting each. Oh, that doesn't actually sound that long. That doesn't sound that bad at all. But it depends on how fast you crochet because I know most people crochet faster than me. I'm not a very fast crocheter.
I'm not either. I'm not either. The 5 hour baby sweater, which I showed in one of the videos and is still not
Mhm.
finished, because in a pinch, I could get a 5 hour baby sweater done in 8, maybe 10 hours in a pinch.
Mhm.
But like if you told me 2 days before baby shower that you needed something, I could get it done. You know, but
Mhm.
I have to take too many breaks in between to
Yeah.
to finish something.
I have started having this thing recently, and it only happens when my hands are cold and if I'm using a smaller hook. But I'll be crocheting, and like this part of my hand, I'll feel the hook like hit press into the bone and like press into the bone of my knuckle, and it just hurts. And I'm like, I can't work like this, and I don't know if it's just that my hands are cold or if it's or what it is, but it hurts.
Well, if you think it only happens when your hands are cold, then you need to wear some fingerless gloves.
It may be, but it's also because like the times when I notice it happening are when I'm like even though I shouldn't, hopefully my bosses aren't watching, but if I'm put in back cash at work and I'm only supposed to be taking cash and we're really slow and no one's there, or if we're held up in line or something, I'll keep my purse back there and crochet a few stitches and then take somebody's money and then crochet a few stitches waiting in line and then take somebody's money, or like crochet a few stitches while I'm waiting for somebody to show up. And I usually leave the window open there just so it's easier for me to get up, take money, and sit back down or whatever. And so I will have been crocheting for a while already. So I don't know if it's because I've been crocheting for a while and like I've already been using my hands for a while, or if it's because it's cold. I could try to get fingerless gloves and see if it helps, and it would probably help at least cushion a little bit.
Yeah,
But it's like real painful.
yeah. You've been doing a lot of stuff with your hands lately, so you do need to take precautions of, over the years I've worn a brace on my hands.
Hmm.
With like the metal running through the palm, the brace that does the Velcro, and I've had the metal
Yeah.
running through the palm like that. I've had the more lycra kind of gloves that just kind of hold your hand tight, but they're like fingerless. I like
Hmm.
those a lot. Probably get back to using one of those because those seem to help a good bit when I was having problems with hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had one in a while, so I should probably. You can get those from like Walgreens for like $5 or $10.
Oh, okay.
So I should probably get one of those for my right hand because that's part of why my projects don't get done as quickly as other people because after I go for a little while, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, really 30 minutes, my hands start to feel fatigued, and then I push myself for a little bit longer, and then by the time I get to the hour point, it's like, okay, I can't do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So sweater, Afghan square, probably buy that AKA pattern, and I'll probably do that today. Let's be honest, I'll probably do that today when we get done, and see if I can get to another color on this waffle stitch blanket. So on my goals, I need to throw every week on my goals. I'm telling this to you, people out there. I need to throw in at least one of the five projects that are weighing on me
Mm-hmm.
so that I can make progress on those because I am determined to get those out from under me by the end of the year.
I mean, we
So
got time. It's only March.
that is true. That is true. And I feel especially with this project here, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really feeling what happens is I get bored. We've talked about this before. I get bored in the middle and get kind of slogged down because it feels like, oh my God, this project's going to take forever.
Yep.
And but now I feel like I'm over that hump where I'm excited about the project again because I can feel I got 5 more inches and then I'm working the bottom and then it's sleeves and pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like, yeah, I'm getting close. I could work on this. And I'm past the real fiddly part, which is a good thing about a top down sweater is that the real fiddly part is at the top while you're still excited about making the project.
Yeah.
That's where you separate for the sleeves and do the neckline and all that kind of stuff. So I'm past that part now. So it's much less fiddly. So those are my goals for next week. So you write those down and remember them because I won't remember.
My goals are just to finish these skeins and maybe have some barefoot sandals.
Well, I look forward to seeing those next week.
All right.
Okay,
We are wrapping up.
according to this screen, we have been streaming for 107 minutes, which is
Hour and a half?
yeah, something like that. A little over hour and a half, which is way too much. But hopefully next week we'll be able to keep it shorter because we were gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah. We need to catch up some stuff.
So hopefully next time we'll make it a little bit shorter. So thank you to anybody who came to our live stream. Thank you, Nightingale, for hanging out with us.
Oh, and
And
thank you to who was that earlier who was chatting with us? She might come back.
it was D. Thompson.
Yes. Thank you.
Steve, who was with us earlier. Um, as we said before, we don't expect somebody to tune in for the live stream. I just record it this way because it is easier. And Google and YouTube take that away. I'm going to do it, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There are links in the show notes at the bottom. If we would love to hear in the comment section about any projects you're working on, especially any crochet alongs. I know I said I'm not joining another crochet along, but if there are any mystery crochet alongs that go the rest of the year that are the not a granny square, but a like row by row. I would love to try another one of those, and I haven't seen any that are currently going for 2019 that are just like 2 rows of one stitch, and then the next 2 rows are a different stitch, and then the next 2 rows are a different stitch. I would love to try one of those, but I don't think there's anybody doing them for 2019. So, but if you know of one, let me know. I'll check it out.
Ooh, and just in time, I finished my second earring.
Because you are worth it.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, they seem like they don't match
Well,
at
they
all.
kind of, because there's a little bit of a purplish color on the one.
Yeah, if you hold them side by side, you can see that the colors are are from the same thing, but like I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Cool.
I'll probably just make a bunch of them anyway.
There'll be some hipsters out there.
Oh, Nightingale says she didn't realize it had been that long either.
Well, thank you for sticking with us, Nightingale, because normally nobody sticks that long through this video. Trust me, I've looked at the statistics, and it's usually they watched it for 10 minutes and then they've skittered off. So that's why we're trying to make them shorter. But since my daughter lives 2 hours away from me, this is the only time we talk to each other all week. So we end up rambling on. But so we'll see you guys next week. Live stream roughly around 4 o'clock. If you want to check the live stream, or you can just watch the video. Either way. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bye.
Bye.